This is the Bluboo S8 Plus. It's one of the cheapest smartphones that I've reviewed on this channel, but is it any good and what can it do? So stick around to find out. It's TechWizTime. Hey guys, Jonathan here with TechWizTime, where I create technology, tutorial and review videos. Before we go any further, the Bluboo S8 was sent out by GearBest. No money has exchanged hands and thoughts and opinions are my own. So the Bluboo S8 Plus is a very budget smartphone. I think it's one of the cheapest smartphones that I've reviewed on this channel, and it definitely shows in its specs and also the quality too. But don't let that fool you, because it's still quite a cheap phone that can perform well as just a gaming device if that's what you're looking for, or even what it was really intended for, which is just a phone. So with that said, let's have a look at some specs. So this has got the MediaTek 6750T processor inside. It's a 1.5 gigahertz 8-core CPU using the Mali T860 GPU. You get 64 gigabytes of storage inbuilt, as well as 4 gigabytes of DDR3 memory. This one comes with Bluetooth at version 4.0, and it also comes with Wi-Fi at 2.4 gigahertz. So no 5 gigahertz band here. You don't get wireless charging or NFC or anything like that. It's pretty bare bones. It isn't rooted either, but it is Android 7.0, and it does come with USB-C. Again, no headphone jack here, but you do get the adapter inside. The battery comes in at 3600 milliamp hours, so not too bad. And the front-facing camera is 5 megapixels, whereas the rear-facing camera is 16 megapixels. The screen comes in at 1440 by 720p, and the screen size is 6 inches. So with that said, let's take a couple of selfies and we'll see what the camera quality is like. We'll grab our trusty Totoro. I'm just gonna warn you that focusing is a little bit slow. That's the one thing that I've noticed here. The quality of the rear-facing camera is a little bit soft, so it's not very sharp. When it comes to selfie time, again, I'm noticing that the quality of the photo is very soft. So if you're looking for a sharp camera, then this probably isn't the one for you. Oh, the other thing you've got as well is you've got with the SIM card slot, you've got your dual SIM or one SIM and a micro SD card. So you can expand the storage there. All right, with those specs and sort of thing out of the way, let's have a look at benchmarks, and we'll start off with a 1 SD bench, which is to test out the read and write speeds of the storage that's inbuilt, as well as the micro SD card speeds. So first off the bat is the internal read speed for the internal storage, and that one comes in at 143 megabytes per second, and the write speed comes in at 128 megabytes per second. Not the fastest inbuilt storage. Next up, we've got the micro SD card speeds, and we're looking at the read speed there of 46 megabytes per second, and a write speed of 46 megabytes per second. So again, not very fast, but again, this is a budget smartphone, so you get what you pay for. And lastly, the RAM speed. We're looking at 3,687 megabytes per second here. Now, this is partially due to it being DDR3 and also only being 4 gigabytes of DDR3 memory, so you're not going to get 1 plus 5T sort of speeds out of this one. Next up is the Wi-Fi speed test, and this is using the speed test app, and we're getting 99 megabits per second download and 67 megabits per second upload. Now that's about half of my connection speed, so that's probably due to the 2.4 gigahertz band that it has instead of the 5 gigahertz. All right, so next up is Antutu, and we're getting an overall score here of 49,798. We're getting a CPU score of 20,145. We're getting a 3D score of 11,441. We're getting a UX score of 13,895. And we're getting a RAM score of 4,317. Next up, we test out the single and multi-core aspect of the CPU with Geekbench. And we're getting a single core score here of 616. And we're getting a multi-core score of 2,319. And to test out the GPU, we use the 3D Mark app. And in Slingshot, we're getting a score of 538. In Slingshot Extreme though, we're only getting a score of 367. Ice Storm comes back with a score of 9,402. And Ice Storm Extreme comes back with a score of 5,657. So not the greatest GPU out there. Next up, we look at the two popular streaming apps, which is Netflix and YouTube. And Netflix is compatible with this phone, as is YouTube, but YouTube only streams at 720p. So I wouldn't expect much more, considering this as a 720p display. So now that we've tested out those things, the next thing that I like to test out is gaming. Now, normal gaming will be fine on this phone, mostly. But when it comes to emulation, that's where it really pushes this device to its limits. And one of the first emulators we're going to test out here is Ppsspp. That's the PlayStation Portable emulator for Android. And the first game up is Power Stone. And here we're only getting about 25 to 35 frames per second in this one-on-one brawler. So not too good, really. No, not too good at all. Next up is the one that punishes all devices, which is God of War. And here we're only seeing between 10 and 20 frames per second. So not what I would call playable at all. Next up, we've got the Dreamcast emulator Raycast. And Sonic Adventure 2 here is getting between 40 and 50 frames per second, so not too bad. The cult classic Shenmue gets between 25 and 30 frames per second, so definitely playable. And the glitchy Soul Calibur, you're looking at about 40 to 50 frames per second here, so not too bad. And lastly, we're looking at the PlayStation 1 emulator, Ppsspp. And the first game off the ranks is Final Fantasy VII, and we're getting a full 60 frames per second here, which is nice. Metal Gear Solid, we're getting 60 frames per second here as well, which is great. And lastly, I always like to push it with a title that sort of pushes the boundaries of the PlayStation 1, and that's Tekken 3. And in this case, we're only getting about 45 to 55 frames per second here. So most PlayStation 1 titles will play fine, and even Tekken 3 still plays okay. So if you're looking for a budget smartphone that you're not too concerned about the camera quality, unless you like that soft look, and you're not really concerned with playing too much more than a PlayStation 1 emulation on this device, then this budget smartphone is exactly that. It's a budget smartphone for those who are looking to get the most out of every dollar. If you could afford a little bit more, check out my Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus review. That device really kicks it and is so much better than this one here, but again, you're going to have to spend a bit more to get that one. In the end, it's what you can afford, and if budget is your price, then this might be the phone for you. Do you want to see more awesome tech gadget reviews and tutorials? Then make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon too so you get email notifications. Did you like this video? Then make sure you give me a big thumbs up and consider checking out my Patreon page if you love what I'm doing here. You can help the community grow by sharing this video on social media platforms like Reddit or Facebook groups. Also, don't forget to check out these other awesome videos that I've created here, and as always, imagine, learn, create.